Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar experts, community projects and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bank better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. Before we get into the show today, I would like to do some editorialization because some of you have been asking why we haven't said anything about Elon Musk's full-throated involvement in trying to get Donald Trump re-elected to the White House. Given the election is just over a week away, I want to reiterate something here. Just because we cover Tesla and by proxy Elon Musk does not mean that I or anyone else on the team condone his behaviour of late. Behaviour which appears to be in violation of campaign finance laws and, to be clear, supports a candidate whose policies, behaviour and debunked conspiracy theories threaten to fracture global politics in a way we haven't seen since World War II. Voting for that candidate not only means making the world less safe for the people at this channel, but it also threatens the transition to a cleaner, greener, safer, smarter and more equitable future. In keeping with other publications who have made editorial statements on candidate choice, we here are supporting the Harris-Walz ticket. Although we believe that electric vehicles are now very much a bipartisan topic, and of course we welcome and encourage civil discourse from across the political spectrum, and we encourage everyone to be a part of that political process, we'd like to remind you to exercise your democratic right to choose light over hate. We've watched in the last decade as Chinese automakers have gone from being a bit of a joke in the EV space to being a force to be reckoned with. And this week we learned just how much of a force when Ford CEO Jim Farley told our good friend Robert Llewellyn over at the Fully Charged channel how much he's a fan of the Xiaomi SU7. While regular folks can't just import a car from China to the US, Ford, as an automaker, can import cars for testing and benchmarking processes, and thus Farley, as CEO of Ford, has been able to use a Xiaomi SU7 as a daily driver for the past 6 months. Admitting that he doesn't want to give it up at the end of the test period, Farley admitted that Chinese firms like Xiaomi, known for its phones rather than its cars, are a real wake-up call for the American auto industry, an existential threat that the industry should be taking very seriously. Volkswagen's newest brand, Scout Motors, officially took the covers of its first 2 models this week in Tennessee. The brand name, which evokes the original International Harvester brand Scout of off-roaders from 50-plus years ago, has some pretty big shoes to fill. Just unveiled is the Traveller SUV, which Scout says will tow up to £7,000 and offer £2,000 of cargo carrying capability, as also will the Terra pickup, which will tow £10,000 and feature a 5.5-foot bed. Onboard power will be standard and both models will offer high performance and range of in excess of 350 miles or 563 kilometres. A range extended variant is also promised, and for those paying attention, yes, this is going to be another massive SUV that's focused on something other than energy efficiency. Pricing is expected to be under $60,000, but production isn't expected to begin until 2027. Electric two-wheel company Fuell Inc., whose fuel fluid bicycles we tested for ourselves earlier this year, has entered into Chapter 7 bankruptcy proceedings. The company, built upon the reputation of motorcycle legend Eric Buell, has promised a lot, including the longest-range electric bicycle in production and a high-performance all-electric motorcycle. Earlier this year, it began to become very slow to respond to both customer and press inquiries, and now we've learned communications are being handled by a lawyer charged with representing the company, with creditors given until December 26th this year to file claims against the company. No promises have been given about the status of pre-orders already placed, so watch this space. Ford has officially announced its refreshed Mustang Mach-E lineup for 2025, and for the coming year, some of those changes are pretty substantial. First, the price, with an entry-level Mustang Mach-E now available for $36,495 before incentives, with similar pricing in other markets. There's a bunch of new colours and wheels available for this year, and finally a heat pump has become standard across the range. There's also enhanced Blue Cruise 1.5 with automatic lane change, which the fine print suggests will be supported for at least 7 years from date of purchase, as well as some new interior changes. The most noticeable being Ford's decision to remove the rotary gear shifter from the centre console and put it on the steering column instead. I've been covering the electric vehicle industry now for nearly 20 years, and one of the things I love seeing is the massive growth in EV charging station availability. This week, the US Joint Office of Energy and Transportation confirmed that, thanks in part to federal funding, the US electric vehicle charging network has dramatically changed in the last few months. In August, it reported that it took 3 months to increase the number of charging stations in the US by 9,000 stalls to 192,000. This week, though, it reported that same increase in charging station installations, pushing the number of available total charging stations to more than 200,000, took just 7 weeks, demonstrating a nearly twice increase in speed of deployment. If this continues, we could see in excess of 220,000 public charging stations across the US by the end of the year. Mercedes-Benz has officially opened a brand new battery recycling plant in southern Germany that it claims will recycle enough materials to manufacture 50,000 new battery modules per year. The result of what the firm says is a, quote, double-digit million euro investment, end quote. The facility is the first of its kind in Europe and makes use of an integrated mechanical hydrometallurgical process that can take battery packs from the module level all the way through to the black mass at the other end. Importantly, the facility is far more energy efficient than the pyrometallurgy recycling method, which, as the name suggests, uses extremely high temperatures to break apart the various constituent elements in battery packs. The recycling facility is powered by a 350 kilowatt peak solar system on the factory's roof and, says Mercedes-Benz, is net carbon neutral. Just 1 week after we told you that Tesla's We Robot event had upset the director of iRobot for seemingly copying designs of vehicles and robots used in the film, it's in hot water again from the movie world. This time, however, it's not for allegedly copying the massive transport vehicles used to deploy US robotics' latest robots, the robots themselves, or the Audi-badged robotaxis used in iRobot. This time, it's for displaying AI-generated images on giant screens during the reveal event that bear a very striking resemblance to the world of Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. As per a court case filed against Tesla by the film's producers this week, Alcon Entertainment, Elon Musk had asked the company if he could use Blade Runner-inspired visualizations at the event, and the company said no. But using AI-generated images instead, Musk circumvented the denial. This has led Alcon Entertainment to call Musk's behaviour a bad faith and intentionally malicious gambit. Watch this space. We regularly hear about pushback from politicians surrounding EV incentives, and this week we saw a different set of statistics involving subsidies, ones for ICE vehicles instead. In a new study by Environmental Resources Management on behalf of Transport and Environment in Europe, the amount of money that EU countries have given to businesses in tax credits for company cars were tallied up. And it's shocking. It shows that across the EU, €42 billion of tax write-offs were provided to companies for the purchase of new fossil-fuelled company cars. What's more, company cars are much more common in Europe than in North America thanks to those generous tax codes, with 60% of all new cars sold officially last year classed as company cars. Italy, Germany and France offered the most in tax benefits for ICE company car purchases. Rivian's production facility in Normal, Illinois is, according to a new report from Bloomberg, home to more serious safety violations than in any other automaker in the US since the start of 2023. Like Tesla in its early days, Rivian is under significant pressure to ramp up production on its road towards profitability. But Bloomberg's list, collated from official OSHA reports and interviews with current and former plant workers, makes for hard reading, with amputated fingers, skull damage and much more listed. In the last 21 months, Rivian's been given initial citations for 16 serious OSHA violations, more than any other automaker. But Rivian has now issued a statement that it is continually improving its safety processes and noting that it's not received any serious citations this year. It also added it felt Bloomberg misrepresented facts. Earlier this month, after Tesla's official reveal of the robotaxi and robovan, aka Cybercab and Robovan, many hoped that Tesla's Cybercab would represent the long-awaited $25,000 EV from the brand. But during Tesla's earnings call this week, Tesla CEO Elon Musk confirmed that while Tesla will sell customers a $25,000 Cybercab, it won't be one you can drive yourself with manual controls. Answering questions from investors concerning private sales of the vehicle, Musk confirmed that he believed, quote, having a regular $25,000 model is pointless. It would be silly. It would be completely at odds with what we believe, end quote. This suggests that even if you purchased one, you'd be reliant on Tesla's infrastructure and autonomous vehicle tech to make use of it. But that said, I'm curious how long it will take tech-savvy coding folks to fix that particular restriction. Our short shorts are coming next, but first, a word from today's video sponsor, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels. They can help you join a community solar program or in fact get a heat pump installed. We used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and the Energy Sage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. So follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free, no-obligation services and get the ball rolling today. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we'll also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support this channel. It's a win-win-win. And now it's time for short shorts. Kia has officially recalled the EV9 to address a potential problem with its digital driver display. According to official recall documents, the gauge cluster can become intermittently blank on startup, caused by a software logic error. Kia is planning an over-the-air software fix for all affected cars. Ford has officially issued a tech bulletin warning owners of Ford vehicles with certain Tesla-made supercharger NACS adapters to stop using them. It's technically not a recall, but Ford has told affected customers, of which I'm one, to expect a replacement unit in the mail. Tesla enjoyed its best single day on the stock market this week in 11 years after publishing its Q3 figures. It raked in $25.18 billion versus the $25.37 billion expected, reporting an adjusted earnings per share of 72 cents, better than the 58 cents expected. Volkswagen is primarily known for its cars and vans, but in Rwanda, Volkswagen Group Africa has just celebrated the commissioning of a new fleet of all-electric tractors for the Gen Farm project, a pilot program designed to help farmers transition to electric tractors. We've covered the UK's epic transition away from fossil-fuelled grid generation a fair amount this year, but this week a new solar power facility went live. It's a 55-megawatt solar farm in North Yorkshire that will produce enough power for 20,000 homes. The French government has just released its proposed budget for next year, and as part of it, is proposing cutting purchase incentives for EVs by 1/3. But while the subsidy programme is set to lower, France also wants to increase taxation for vehicles with high CO2 emissions. BYD has officially launched the Seal 06 GT in China. It's the production version of the Ocean M concept the company first debuted in April, and while it's not yet known if it will go on sale outside of China, its starting price, under €18,000 equivalent, is enticing. CATL has announced a new joint venture with an Indonesian company that will see the pair begin battery cell production in West Java sometime in 2027. The 15 gigawatt-hour capable facility will be another way of circumventing tariffs on Chinese-made batteries. Chinese car company Chery has announced a brand new solid-state battery pack that it hopes will offer energy densities in excess of 600 watt-hours per kilogram, while also offering charging at rates of up to 6C. It will begin tests in vehicles sometime in 2026. Xiaomi, buoyed by massive demand for its XU7 electric car, and I'm guessing helped by positive things Jim Farley has said about it of late, has announced a massive acceleration of its factory expansion plans, which it now says will be completed by the middle of next year. A Harvard University spin-off has developed a new solid-state battery pack that can be charged in as little as 10 minutes, and it's already secured $15 million of Series A funding to help it move towards scale production and initial automotive testing. Einride has announced a new partnership with PepsiCo, which will see PepsiCo use Einride's Class 8 semi-tractor trailers to transport goods in and around Tennessee. Non-automated, they promise CO2 savings in excess of 143 metric tonnes per year. For a while, fleet operators have looked at federal tax credits for EVs with envy, but now fleet customers buying Ford F-150 Lightnings for their business can look forward to getting their own $7,500 discount thanks to a newly announced fleet discount program from Ford. Mercedes-Benz has confirmed that it will be expanding its high-power charging network to Japan. Currently deployed in parts of North America and Europe, the high-power EV charging network will offer CHAdeMO-compatible charging stations in line with Japan's chosen EV charging standard. Sticking with charging, Tesla has officially announced its new head of charging infrastructure 6 months after it fired its entire supercharger team. At the same time, the company has announced a new massive supercharging site in California with 168 supercharger stalls. In order to assuage fears about electric vehicle fires, Hyundai's logistics arm, Hyundai Glovis, has unveiled a new EV drill lance designed to pierce the underside of an EV battery pack that has caught fire. This allows firefighters to inject water into the pack directly and extinguish battery fires within 30 minutes, which is much faster than the traditional EV firefighting techniques can do. Royal Enfield is preparing to unveil a new motorcycle and has teased a video on Instagram about it. And while it's not officially stated what it is, the account that shared it included the words Royal Enfield EV. Please, can it be an all-electric Himalayan? The Council of the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. has unanimously passed a new bill that would require all substantially improved commercial and multi-family dwellings, as well as new builds, to provide EV charging capabilities. It will also provide incentives to help landlords install EV charging for their tenants in existing buildings. A massive deposit of lithium has been discovered in the US state of Arkansas by the US Geological Survey, estimated to be somewhere between 5 to 19 million tons of lithium. Extracting the lithium could prove cost prohibitive or environmentally risky. Stellantis, like other automakers, has to produce a certain number of EVs to avoid fines in many markets or pay companies like Tesla to obtain the necessary regulatory credits. But this week, we learned that it could be about to cut ICE vehicle production in order to avoid triggering heavy fines for EV non-compliance. In order to cope with higher tariffs on Chinese-made vehicles imported overseas, Bloomberg published a story this week confirming what we already knew. Chinese brands are investing heavily in expanding their production capacity with non-Chinese facilities to circumvent those tariffs. A UK-based autonomous vehicle startup called Wayve, that's partially funded by Uber and SoftBank, has announced that it's ready to begin testing its own self-learning autonomous vehicle tech in San Francisco and the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Meanwhile, during Tesla's Q3 earnings call this week, we learned that Tesla's Hardware 3-equipped Teslas that Tesla once said would support full self-driving might not actually be capable of doing that. Elon Musk admitted during the call that there's a chance the hardware won't be capable of achieving the safety levels required for unsupervised full self-driving. QuantumScape has officially begun low-volume production of its B-sample solid-state battery cells. What does that mean? Well, it's industry speak for cells that will be sent to automakers for official validation testing in EVs, bringing its cells closer to mass production. Ford has opened the order books for its 2025 Transit, and for the first time there's no difference in upfront costs between the gasoline and the electric variant. Moreover, for the very first time, Ford is now integrating trade package options for e-transits at the point of purchase. Rivian and Bosch are both accusing each other of breaking contracts over vehicle parts supply. Rivian claims Bosch had supply chain and supply quality offerings, causing it to break its deal for drivetrains, but Bosch said that Rivian breached its contract by announcing its decision to develop in-house motors. Tesla has officially begun testing its robotaxi service in the state of California, but for now, the testing program is only open to Tesla employees. California is one of a handful of US states where autonomous vehicle testing is allowed, which is why you see so many self-driving vehicles there. A new all-electric 100-ton crane built by Japanese material handling specialist Tadano will soon go on sale in the North American market. It's a rough-terrain crane with all-wheel drive, four-wheel steering and a load carrying capacity of 100 tons. Zeekr has officially begun mass production of its new Mix EV ahead of its production launch this week. It's the fifth EV to be sold under the Zeekr brand and enters into an increasingly crowded electric minivan market segment in its home market of China. Hyundai has officially announced a new battery care lease plan in its home market of Korea to entice prospective customers into its Casper EV. Already a popular car in its gasoline form, Hyundai is hoping that the lease plan helps lower upfront costs for EV customers. Speaking to the New York Times this week, GM CEO Mary Barra stated that despite some of GM's changes in EV production goals, it's still all in on ditching ICE vehicles by 2035. She said the brand aims to be the second automaker to turn a profit on EVs after Tesla. Stellantis has confirmed that it will begin testing solid-state battery packs made by Fuell Energy in a fleet of Dodge Charger Daytona Evs from 2026. The fleet will enable the automaker to decide if solid-state packs are a good fit for future models. Kia has published US pricing for the 2025 EV9. While there's very little difference between the current and new model year, the long-range model, the entry-level version, gets a $700 price increase. New sales data suggests that while the auto industry might be trying to get people to switch to plug-in hybrids instead of EVs, customers remain unconvinced. JD Power's newest data set on sales suggests that 1.9% of all new cars sold between January and August this year in the US were plug-in hybrids versus 9.4% were being EVs. Swiss company Softcar has unveiled a new ultra-lightweight electric quadricycle that fits under the L7e electric car regulations. With 4 seats and a range of 200 kilometres, the lightweight EV just reminds me of the Kewett Buddy, but with more seats. NHTSA is officially investigating a series of accidents in which Tesla's autopilot full self-driving Supervised is believed to have been involved. 4 crashes, including 1 fatal collision with a pedestrian, are under scrutiny. NHTSA is worried about FSD's ability to detect and respond appropriately to reduced roadway visibility, which is something that other semi-autonomous vehicles also struggle with. I want to be very clear about noting that. Electric bus company Bazigo has secured more than $24 million in Series A equity funding and $17.5 million in debt financing. It aims to accelerate its deployment of electric buses and lorries in sub-Saharan Africa. It's official, the most affordable Chevrolet Equinox, the $35,000 entry-level Equinox EV-LT, is now available to order in the US. Promised a long time ago, it's eligible for the US federal tax credit, which brings its effective price well under $30,000. New legislation has been passed in the EU that will make it possible for citizens of member nations to sue their governments if said countries fail to meet new, stricter emissions goals. It's a literal breath of fresh air in trying to hold companies and countries accountable for pollution. And finally for the segment, Tesla has yet again delayed the launch of its promised range extender for the Tesla Cybertruck, with production now expected to begin in mid-2025 instead of the previously stated early 2025. It's also quietly reduced the estimated range in the range-extending battery pack from 470 plus miles to 445 plus miles. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. Our final 2 stories are next, but first, a quick word from friend of the channel, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also go towards growing a greener world. That's exactly what Atmos Financial does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy rather than fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow with every swipe of your card today because it's committed to investing 100% into clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a competitive savings rate and a mobile app, your finances and the climate can go hand in hand. It charges no monthly fees and there are no minimums keeping you awake at night. And it also offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the link below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth. And since every sign-up supports this channel, it means we can keep bringing you the content you love. I'm personally a customer and I love knowing that I'm helping save money while making sure that that money doesn't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. As always, thanks to Atmos for their sponsorship of the show. And now it's time for those last two stories. It's been no secret that Toyota's plan of a hydrogen future has been a little tougher to execute on than it originally thought. Aside from problems with just getting enough fueling stations deployed to be practical, hydrogen fueling stations have proven a complete headache when it comes to reliability, not to mention the sheer costs associated with filling up when that card that Toyota gives you runs out. But Toyota has just unveiled a new answer to the problem of unreliable infrastructure. Canisters of hydrogen you can take with you. Unveiled at the Japan Mobility Show BizWeek 2024, Toyota was heavily promoting a series of hydrogen fuel cell canisters that interface with everything from portable power stations to a Toyota Mirai. It even envisages a future where customers could rock up and swap out depleted canisters for fully charged ones? And if that sounds like battery swapping with an extra step, it really does, doesn't it? And finally, believe it or not, the New Yorker cartoon, On the Internet, Nobody Knows You're a Dog, is now 31 years old, but the sentiment still stands. You never know just who you're interacting with online. Apparently, Fisker didn't know that meme because in 2022 it hired a remote IT employee who said they were from Arizona. The problem? They were actually an undercover operative from the DPRK, aka North Korea. According to court filings this week, Fisker was one of a number of tech-based companies that were infiltrated by North Korean spies, and in this case, the spy was aided by a US citizen who was approached by a North Korean agent on LinkedIn and persuaded to be a US face for an overseas IT company. Said IT company was, of course, a front for North Korean spies working half a world away. The claimed reason for the infiltration? According to the FBI, money laundering for the Kims. At least that particular avenue of money laundering is, no longer open. And on that note, we are in fact done with today's show. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for EVs since 1967 and firmly believe our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make that switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or in fact, by getting a heat pump installed. And thanks to Atmos Financial. Bank better by following the link below. And of course, if you're someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, however you did that, good job. Congratulations. If you'd like to support the channel directly, please consider supporting us from just $1 a month on Patreon, which is about $10.08 a year, or by visiting our swag store. We do still have our special Halloween designs in shop. We're viewer supported because we believe the information we produce should be free to everyone, and thanks to changes in how YouTube does ad revenue, our income is unfortunately down about 10% this year. So if you support, thank you. I am really not being hyperbolic when I say you make this possible. You really do. We'll be back next week as usual with content going out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And to finish, remember that you are valid and loved and you have a place in this world, regardless of what rich idiots, religious zealots, large companies and greedy politicians say. Your existence is resistance. And while most US states have now gone past the deadline for voter registration for November's election, if you are a US citizen, do your research as to whom you're going to vote for, both at the national level and at the local level. I did my voting this week and I've mailed off my ballot. Down ballot races are just as important as who gets to sit behind the Resolute desk. So until next time, stay safe, regardless of your identity or who you love. Be an amazing ally, be kind, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, keep evolving.